Hi, I'm Harry.
And I'm Ralph. Welcome to Bernhardt Reviews.
Today we're going to talk about another movie by Jade Kasnick called Jumanji Part 2, The Next Level.
And how do you think this one compared to the first?
Well, this one had some new ideas going on. They had its same old stars, The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black, but they brought in old celebrities Danny DeVito and Danny Glover.
That's right. I think Danny DeVito is a really funny addition to the group, and Danny Glover is too. I think the whole cast is pretty good, and this one might even be a little bit more interesting because they're not really playing the same characters from the first film. In this one, everyone becomes a different character when they enter the game.
We see that Spencer, our main character, loved being Bravestone because it had evolved him from being this wimpy kid to a guy that could just do anything. So he wanted to go back in and be Bravestone, which caused his old friends to go in and look for him.
Yeah, I didn't really understand Spencer's motivation in this film. So I get that he liked being Dwayne Johnson, but it does seem a little silly that he would abandon the real world, then rebuild the Jumanji game so that he can go in himself, because apparently he'd rather live in the video game world. Except for by the end of the film, he just wants out of there like everyone else. So, I don't know, I felt like the conflict in this movie seemed a little bit more forced than in the first film.
Danny Glover becomes Kevin Hart, which made something totally different because Kevin Hart is usually loud, obnoxious, and a comedian. But Danny Glover is calm, cool, chill. And we first see Kevin Hart with a whole different personality. And right away we know that he's played by a different character.
That's true. The characters are all being played by different characters in the movie now. Although, I did kind of feel like at a certain point, we've seen this before. We've seen the characters go into the game and, get to play as video game avatars. So I feel like, that's not quite as funny and not quite as interesting the second time around.
I thought that this, for a sequel, I was expecting it to be cheap and cheesy, but it really wasn't. In the video game world, even though many of the characters were like in a video game where they only have a programmed series of responses like, "Welcome to Jumanji. It's a pleasure to see you. Bravestone, you are even more dashing in person."
They did that joke a lot in the first film, so I felt like it didn't land quite as hard this time because, again, we already saw that before in the first movie.
I thought it was great how they started in the jungle, went to the desert. A moment that I thought was very emotional was at the end, when Milo, after he had restored his friendship with Eddie on their journey, he became this horse, a character that couldn't talk, except to Mouse Finbar, who was the so-called zoologist. When he was the horse could fly. And Milo, being this old guy with cancer, he's young, heroic, even as a horse, and he can fly, do whatever he wants, and it feels amazing. So he chooses to stay in the game, leaving his friends behind, but there's hope for him to live a long, fulfilled, happy life in the Jumanji world where he can be a hero, which causes a bittersweet ending.
Yeah, just like the first film. It's mostly comedy, but they do have a couple sweet moments in there. So what do you think you'd give this movie out of 10?
Out of 10, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Wow, that's the same as what you gave the first film. I'm also gonna give the first film the same rating. Normally I rate sequels worse than the originals, but I do think this film built on it a little bit. We got some interesting dynamics with the characters, and I thought it was nice that they weren't just in the jungle this movie. They went to a lot of different environments, and there were some pretty sweet moments, especially by the end. So, like the first film, I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10. So our average review for this film, just like the first, is a 7 out of 10.
You seem to not like video games very much.
I like video games, just I'm not a big fan of comedies. Anyway, that was Bernhardt Reviews. Thank you for watching.
Please subscribe to our channel.
Bye.
Bye.